G'day, Filth. This episode is sponsored by Loot Crate. Are you on a quest for epic gear, housewares and collectibles this holiday season? Loot Crate offers an epic range of pop culture items for less than $20 a month. Whether you're shopping for the geek in your life or if you are the geek, like I am and like my geeky girlfriend is, Loot Crate is the best surprise you know is coming. Every month there's a different theme and new exclusive items that you can only get with Loot Crate. Treat yourself every month or give the gift of geeking out to a friend or loved one. I just got the recent box, which was Origins, I think. It had like the Ninja Turtles mug and the Mario t-shirt, which I'm sure we've spoken about on the show as wanting just a normal, good Mario t-shirt. Well, that was that. Roll up your sleeves and get ready to celebrate some of pop culture's most put-together franchises. February's hands-on theme is Build and features Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Batman, because he builds all that stuff, Lego Dimensions, and Tetris. Oh, Tetris. Hey, that's a video game, Filth. Get into it. And always, there's a monthly t-shirt and there's a pin. So the Mario t-shirt was the monthly t-shirt. There'll be a different one for this one. Now, you've got until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific American time to subscribe and to receive this month's crate. And after that, you roll over to the next one. So you're going to miss out on the Build one. So head to lootcrate.com/filthycasuals and enter the code filthycasuals to save $3 off any new subscription today.
Good morning, video games. Welcome to Filthy Casuals, a podcast about video games, hosted by three very kind and knowledgeable boys. My name is Tommy Daslow. Sitting opposite me, I have one of my co-hosts, Adam Knox.
Hello, Thomas. Thank you for inviting me to your program.
And also sitting to my right, the other co-host of the program, Ben Vanel.
Hello, Thomas. Thank you for inviting me on your program.
Oh, it's very formal today. I like it a lot.
Well, we're in... Jinx.
This is the only time before we've ever recorded where we've said, okay, just be conscious of not stepping over each other.
Yeah.
And so when we both said it then, we were both too polite to keep talking.
Yeah, we were both like deers in each other's headlights.
Yeah. Two deers driving cars in opposite directions. Both of them go like, oh, well, I gotta fucking be at work. But this guy's really spooky.
But it's my instinct to just freeze.
We've got two guests on the show today who you'll know from the Weekly Planet podcast. Please welcome into Filthy Casuals, Nick Mason and Mr. Sunday Movies.
Thank you. Oh, I thought we were going to harmonise. But we didn't harmonise. Thank you, Thomas, for having us on the show.
Nick Mason's second time on the show.
Yes.
That's all.
Your face, you just remembered then that you've done this before.
Well, look, I'll be honest with you, I haven't played any video games since the last time I was on the show.
You and Tommy will get along just fine.
In a way, I'm the best filthy casual there is.
Yeah.
So,
in a way. Yeah.
We should address very quickly. It is a hot one in Melbourne today. And
like 7 inches from the midday sun.
Yeah. We had about a half-hour discussion before the podcast where we debated, should we leave the fan on in my living room? Mm-hmm. And we all reached the conclusion that we were happy to sacrifice the audio quality of this podcast for our own personal comfort.
Yep.
So... Look, sorry guys, if you're annoyed by this, I bet there's at least 3 people that complain on the socials.
At least 3?
Yeah.
It's very specific.
Yeah, minimum 3.
Okay.
Bare minimum 3 people going, this thing that I get for free had the sound of some air in the background.
I'm no longer a fan. Bye everybody.
What kind of do you guys get on your show? Do you get much nitpicky feedback? Because I imagine your topic of discussion really lends itself to some.
Our sound quality for the first 90 episodes sounded like it was like the inside of a garbage can. It was just like it was like one mic, like a one USB mic, and we just got it kind of both
huddled
lurch
about
over
it.
it.
Crooner
horrible.
style.
Yes.
Nice.
Well, I was gonna say, more like 2 homeless people around a trash fire. But yeah, crooner style's good too. Yeah. So
Whose house did you record at? Because I'd love it if it was Mason's house and you've just passed the judgment of, sounded like we were inside a bin.
It was initially my parents'
house.
We drove to my I didn't live there. We drove there to do it to get some space.
Right.
And then my house, and then when I moved. It's not interesting. 3 places over
so
time.
why couldn't you do it at either of your own houses?
Because my first place was really small.
Okay.
So you could hear everything. If someone's in the other
How
room...
much space did you need to both talk into the same microphone?
Look, initially it was a podcast about doing 100-metre sprints. So we just needed to go back and forth. It's called the beep test. I don't know.
Right.
Oh, man, that just gave
The first
me chills.
episode is really long, but like the 90th episode, incredibly short.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, man.
Look, we also, because we're like a podcast about, movies and TV shows, but we have always, from the start, we've gone, listen, we don't know everything about this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You probably do. Everybody out there probably knows more about this thing than we do.
Yeah.
Please don't email in.
Well, we're sort
People
of the same.
still do.
Yeah, that's true.
We're sort of the same with video games, but then we ended up in this weird position where, we kind of got an invite to the media event for the Switch, making us some of the first people in the country to ever play it. So we kind of went from going like, we don't know anything about this topic. Like the word casual is literally in the name.
Yeah.
To being at the vanguard of this new technology that's coming
It's really
out.
there are people who work for proper journalism-y websites
Yes.
who haven't played the Switch yet.
Yeah.
Not just journal a sports writer for the Age. I'm not talking about. Like,
Yeah, sure.
he's not
Yeah,
played
like
this.
people who work for Kotaku.
There are
Nui-
people there who haven't played it, and we're
Nui
ahead of them.
Takoha. He's not putting in that in the Matrix, is he? Is that a reference that anybody
Nui
remembers?
No, I get it.
Yeah,
I'm into
thank
it.
you.
I'm really into it.
Okay, good.
I did mean to
You'll
look
have
them-
to be into it for the three of us?
Do you not know who Nui Takoa is?
No.
Nah.
Man, I was obsessed with him for a little while. So he was one of the entertainment writers at the Herald Sun. And back when the Big Day Out was still on every year, he would come out like 2 months before the lineup would come out, and he would start making these like wild predictions about who was going to be on. He's like, I'm hearing from my sources that Prince is coming out for the Big Day Out.
Oh,
and it was
wow.
never,
He's like the Laura Kate Dale of
kind of,
yeah,
but
great.
just complete, like not based on anything. He wasn't
Yeah.
even claiming to have sources. He was just like,
I reckon.
yeah, this is what I'm hearing.
And he used to have a thing called the Matrix, which
Yes.
was basically a hot or not, except
Yes.
it was a wheel.
Yes.
And he put things that were hot or
Yes.
not on the Matrix.
He took the hot or not column and rebooted it.
Wait, so is something hot or not if it's down the bottom left? of
This
the
was
wheel?
exactly it. You
Yeah.
could never tell, and it seemed like it changed week to week.
So he's immune from criticism there.
That's right.
Right. But I was going to say, so 90% of our listeners are pretty great. I have a piece of correspondence here that basically I've just been waiting to say on a podcast.
Oh.
I know exactly
I
the
feel
one
it's
you mean.
inappropriate on the podcast, on our podcast. But so
So you're just treating us like international waters.
yeah, exactly.
Exactly,
Do
yeah.
whatever
Not
we
all of
want.
your listeners
Yeah.
are going to come over and hear this.
Yeah, we're
Back in the bin.
That's right. So, we get a lot of fan theories on our podcast. It's always like, oh, what if this heroic character in this movie was actually a villain? Here's all the clues that point to that or whatever.
You love him and I hate him.
I love him and James hates him. But like 1 week we were like, okay, we're going to open the floodgates. Here's our email address. If you have some fun fan theories, if you've got and it could be movies, TV shows, anything, give us a fan theory and I'll because I love reading them, so send them in.
Wait, was this the first time you'd ever given your email address out on the podcast?
Oh no, it's been we shut it down for a while because we were
Yeah.
getting too much
Okay,
correspondence. But anyway, so we're like, any fan theories? You got any theories? Send them in.
It's hard being popular.
Yeah, right. And so this one, it just says the theory is the title. It says, okay, love your podcast. Keep up the great work. Also, you talked about Nazis, but Nazis is a slur. The Germans were National Socialists. The mainstream version of World War II is a complete lie. There was no program to exterminate Jews with gas, so the Holocaust is entirely made up. There is plenty of research on the matter. The reason why the Jews made up the Holocaust is to get victim status while they continue for their plan of world domination in the background. Jews had declared war on Germany, not the other way round. Behind every subversive movement that divides us, you will find Jews, whether it's liberalism, feminism, LGBT, Black Lives Matter, etc., etc. Also, Jews did 9/11, 7/7, Paris attacks, Sydney siege, and other attacks.
Meso, can you start reading the letter, please?
Are behind Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Jews run the media, newspapers, Hollywood, and the large publishing houses, so most of your thoughts are controlled by them. They are even behind diversity and multiculturalism and the whole gender thing.
Those blights.
Yeah. There is a lot of coding in storylines in their movies too. So if you are wondering,
More like
wondering why
Juvies,
the West has gotten dumber and entertainment is getting more shallow and perverse, then there is your answer. It is called cultural Marxism. Regards and grab that gem, which is our catchphrase. And that's
Wow.
from Joe. So
I thought the Switch launch lineup was bad, but that really puts things into perspective.
As a Jew, I can confirm that is all true.
I know, right?
He's found us out.
Yeah.
That bizarre Venn diagram that guy sits in between his beliefs and being a fan of your podcast.
I know, right?
So that's a fan theory that he sent you.
Yeah, that's his
about
theory.
real life history.
Yeah. That was the week of send us in your theories. So
Got a fan theory about World War II.
Oh, that's good.
That's yeah. I was about to say Like, I reckon that's a guy who just has that text
Ready to go.
just ready to go to the
yes.
drafts
Yeah.
folder, and anything he listens to or sees,
Any
where there's
YouTube video, yeah.
any email address he comes across, he's like, well, they're getting it.
Yeah,
But
copy
he's
and
including the
paste.
catchphrase it on the end. That's great. It does. It is like it is a weird thing because your guys' show is very, very popular.
Sure, yeah.
Like, it is a weird thing where I was thinking this the other day, like, with this podcast and with the other podcast I do, I wonder who's the worst person that listens to our show. Do you know what I mean?
Oh.
Like,
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
must be some... I mean,
It's that guy for us, obviously.
Yeah.
What if it isn't?
I know, right? Yeah. Exactly. You only hear from the people who contact you directly, so
Yeah.
there's no way of knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like some Wolf Creek style guy right now. He's just skinning someone alive with just
Yeah.
you guys playing on a Bluetooth speaker.
Doing like the
man.
Reservoir Dogs thing. Just with the Weekly Planet behind him, slicing off someone's ear.
So
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
You were on the Weekly Planet. You were
Yes.
a guest on the Weekly Planet a
Yep.
couple of months ago. There was at one point talk of all three of us going on as guests, and then word got back to us that the decision was made that 5 voices on the one podcast would be too many
Yeah.
and would sound downright unprofessional. A fear that we do not hold here at Filthy Casuals.
Put on another fan.
Bring
fan
3
theory,
more
keep it
guests in.
I'm going to do characters now.
It was for me. It was. I was really worried that I'm like, I can't steer this ship because I'm not a professional. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can barely wrangle Mason, let alone fought like 3 other people. That's the way I saw it. But yeah.
Mason, who was, I believe, was in charge of telling you what time to get here and forgot to tell you. Is that correct?
When did you tell me? Did you tell me?
I told you this morning.
Oh, okay. Sorry, you did tell me this morning. Yeah,
Still pretty late
I told
notice.
you yesterday, and I told you the address this morning.
that's right. You texted me this morning. Yeah,
Oh, by the way, Adam, bless you.
for that bone rattling sneeze. you did.
Can you please change that to shalom?
You just sneezed while Mason was talking, and I felt very. It kills me when someone sneezes and they don't get a bless you. Don't
Is
you
it
think?
really?
Yeah.
I've never understood. Is it actually about your soul? We're getting on, but is it about your soul escaping your body?
That's what I heard. Something to do with the Black Plague. And It's like, oh no, you're dead.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I have
If you
heard.
don't say
yeah.
bless you after you sneeze, you become a Jew. That's my fan
but
theory
I-
about sneezing.
When I'm in a group and I sneeze and no one says it, I don't like that.
No.
But I
Oh.
also don't want to be the person who then goes, "Oh yeah, bless me," like
Yeah.
that real passag, like really
Yeah.
trying to rub it into people.
And
who haven't said it
namaste,
to you.
everyone.
So Mason, you the last time you were on, we were making some big Switch predictions.
were,
it was
yeah.
codenamed the NX at that point.
That's right. It
Yeah.
could have been anything at that point.
Your theory was that it was going to go be a pachinko machine.
Pachinko machine, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to go back to their roots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which
Which is a
could,
gambling house.
hey, which
had
could
a better launch lineup if it had a pachinko machine. Take that, Nintendo.
could
Bless
still,
you.
yeah, that could still be in their future. We don't know.
Right, yeah.
What a piss poor lineup, though. I got the lineup from Super Nintendo.
He's
Well, you
holding
really
the
need to-
smallest piece of paper I've ever seen.
Yeah, you really need to check your phone to remember 3 names.
But even that seems better. Like F-Zero, Gradius 3, Pilot Wings, SimCity, Super Mario World. Like, that's solid,
on the
right?
Super
This is
Nintendo.
Super Nintendo,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a great launch.
I thought that
lineup.
was I thought that was the Switch, and that was like breaking. Like, what?
No.
They're bringing out F-Zero?
Pilot wings.
Finally.
Yeah, that's it's insane.
Did you ever play Pilot Wings?
I never had a SNES. I only had a NES.
Right.
Yeah.
I had Pilot
I
Wings on
played
the
Pilot
Nintendo
Wings.
64. Yeah.
Was that
And-
an arcade machine where you pedaled as well? Was that
What?
Oh, shit.
That's
that version
called
of that?
that's called a bike.
Not familiar with it.
I remember I remember pedaling in an arcade.
Yeah.
Pedaling drugs. I would sell drugs to the kids. No, I don't remember what
I'm
that
gonna look
was.
that up.
It can't have been Pilot Wings.
Do you think one of us 5 could drop out for a second to look something up?
I think I
Or
remember what
live?
you're talking about. So you were like on it. The game was like you're on a flying bike and you had
Yes,
to kind of steer
exactly,
it through the sky.
yeah.
I kind of
Yeah.
remember that.
Oh.
Yeah. That era of like every arcade machine having some weird different
Yeah.
Yep.
controller.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one where you were in a giant mech and you had 2 control sticks? Do you remember that one?
Oh,
No.
It was a
there-
versus game.
Yeah.
Virtual On, it was called.
Right. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, there's some man. You guys have. Has everyone here been to Japan before?
Yes.
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 Okay, well, this idiot over here hasn't.
Oh, wow.
But I watched some videos.
How would you
of,
feel?
Like, the shit that they have in the arcades there is
Oh, yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
Like, cars, like, you get into a full car
Yeah.
and then you fake drive
So-
and it, like, will do a complete 180 in a circle to tell you whether you're hot or not. And it, but, like, it does, like, a loop, like a roller coaster, basically.
Yeah.
Some of that shit looks great.
One of the arcades we went into in Osaka, Tommy, in the basement they had a pond that you could fish in, and you could exchange the fish that you caught for tickets.
live fish.
Actual live
Actual
fish.
live
yes.
fish. Yeah.
What do you fish it, like a net, or you got like?
I think it was
or
a little
baiting
rod.
up a hook.
Yeah. It was a little
Yeah.
hook.
That
thing.
is bizarre.
It was closed because we were there at like 11 p.m. or something. But
The
it
fish
looked,
are
And it's
asleep.
inhumane. Yeah.
yeah.
It's like no one's told them that, you know, the skill tester exists, or you
Yeah.
can just use fake fish.
Yeah.
I saw this thing. I was walking past an arcade when I was there a few months ago, and there was like a little, trying to describe it. There was like a figurine of a minion on a bike,
Right.
and it was like attached to a rope, and so it's kind of just like circling around, like so the end of the rope is stuck down, and so it's just on a motor, and so it's just like riding around in a little circle. Does that make any sense?
Yes, no, I get
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you guys have the benefit of seeing me act it out with my hand. So the
Yeah, I
listeners,
guess so.
who knows, they could be completely
It
lost.
doesn't
at this
make
point.
sense why you're putting so much effort into describing this thing.
Anyway, I saw this once and went,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's kind of funny." Like it's because it's just like right out the front of the arcade, like sort of in the street,
Right.
basically.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
big
So-
was this thing?
Oh, like maybe just the size of like a standard little plush toy.
Okay,
like
gotcha.
not very
Right.
big at all. So I saw that once and went, "Oh, that's kind of funny that someone's just done that." I then saw this like dozens more times. Like this is it's a thing.
Yeah.
Like it's some weird
Yeah.
marketing thing that they have out the front of all arcades
That's
to
bizarre.
try and entice people in. Have a
Ah.
tiny minion just doing donuts out the front of the arcade.
I didn't want to play a video game before, but now, yeah, that's bizarre. Those things that they have like out the front of places to try and like bring you. I think I've talked about amazing things on this show before.
Yeah, I think
Have
so.
you? I don't
You
know
might
that
think
you
it's
have.
the
Is that at
only
Phillip
place I've ever
Island?
been.
Yeah.
Yeah, on
Yeah,
the way
man.
there. That place was great, and they had this.
Still great.
It was a big tap that would be out the front, and it looked like it was just hovering and
Yeah.
spraying water out
Yeah.
of it.
Oh.
And when I was a kid, I could never figure out how they did it.
Yeah.
I now know that it was magic, but but that sort of stuff.
They
Where
get the same thing out the front of Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Do they
on the
really?
Gold Coast.
I do not believe it.
Yeah, the eternal tap thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I'm going to go out on a limb and say Amazing Things ripped them off.
Yeah.
I reckon they-
Ripley's
bold.
would have been the original.
No, it was probably Amazing Things on Phillip Island who came up with the magic.
Hey,
of the
after this,
tap.
can we talk about Pombo Mart, which is a junk shop in between here and Warrnambool?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's all I have.
I love the
It's called
name.
Pombo Mart.
Should we
Pombo.
try and think of a better name? No. Pombo Mart will do. The first like nonsense word that fell
Yeah.
out of my baby's
I
mouth.
think it was just a hoarder, and he had an
what?
aircraft
Hoarder.
hanger full of junk, and it became a
Right,
junk
right.
shop. I don't know.
junk shop.
And his last name was Pombo.
Who knows?
No, his last name was Mart.
Oh
Yeah.
oh, yeah. Sorry, his first name was Pombo.
Please, Mr. Mart was my father.
that sort of shit with arcade. Oh, sorry, I was just going to mention. Like, have you guys tried VR? Yeah.
No,
No,
I've
no.
tried it with my phone. I bought one of those things where you clip it in and
Right.
And
I
so I've been
played
on
Jack
top
the
of
free
VR.
one you got at Sexpo. Busted.
I played Dactyl Nightmare once, but that was
Dactyl Nightmare.
20 years ago.
Nightmare.
The original VR.
What?
You're saying the names of the weirdest things.
That's all I have. Weird names of
I played
things.
Dactyl Nightmare at Pombo
yeah.
Mart.
It was the real. Remember when VR required that weird?
Remember?
They
Like-
pushed VR in the 90s.
Yeah, sure.
Like 20
Like
years ago,
Lawnmower
but it
Man
was
kind of-
nowhere
Yeah.
near what it
Yeah.
needed to
you
be.
you're being chased by a pterodactyl.
Oh, pterodactyl.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking of dacking. You know,
VR dacking. That would be so good.
also because I was talking last night with friend of the show Luke McGregor, and he was saying like we got into a conversation about this stuff that really excites me of like VR arcades.
Yeah.
VR
yeah,
arcades
man.
they'll end up being called, I guess.
Yep.
And like so.
For context, you're at a Bucks night having this conversation.
Yeah.
Which makes it funnier, I reckon.
Yeah, get those boobs out of our face.
I want virtual boobs on nothing.
Talking about VR. So you can build like huge mazes and like paintball arenas or whatever, and then dress them up digitally in VR,
Yes.
and so
Oh,
be in
cool.
a physical space
Yeah.
that you can reach out and actually touch. That sounds fucking incredible.
That would
to
be
me.
really cool.
I actually
yeah.
did something like that for my brother's bucks. We didn't see boobs. We went to a VR exhibition, but it's in just a warehouse space. You got the VR stuff and a gun, and
Yeah.
you shoot zombies.
Yeah,
That's
cool.
And it was
great.
it's about 5 years off being like really great.
Totally. When
it's
it
a
has
bit
that
wonky.
like tactile thing
Yeah.
to it, when you're able to actually feel like you're in a space, and then it mitigates some of the cost of it as well,
Yeah.
because you can pay $20.
It's a rent. Yeah.
Yeah,
Do
exactly.
you reckon
Yeah.
Nintendo just look at the success of like PlayStation VR and Oculus Rift and because they were trying to do that with the Virtual Boy
Yeah.
all those decades
Yeah,
ago.
that's right.
And just be like, make it more colours than just red and black. Right.
Is it doing super well though? The VR stuff. Like, are people adopting it?
I don't know for sure.
Yeah, it's still. I mean, I think it's hard to get one for the PS. Like, I think
Yeah.
most places are sold out of it.
That's true. If they've only budgeted and produced the
certain
amount that is
number.
it's going to be for a small amount of high-end consumers, they're probably not losing money
But I
on
still
it, I
think
guess.
it's a far way off being like, oh, you have to try it. Like,
Yeah.
you have to get
Totally.
it.
Yeah.
Most things look like a tech demo. It's like you
Yeah.
play this
That's,
for 15
yeah.
minutes, and I'm like, I'm not
Yeah.
getting that. I'm
It
not yet. Yeah.
honestly seemed like something I would get and have fun with for a weekend and then maybe show people when they come round.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that would be
Resident
kind of
Evil
it.
7 is the first thing I've really thought,
right.
fuck, maybe I want to play through this.
yeah,
again.
So that's a full game on VR.
It's the whole thing. I
Ooh.
read a review of it last night because it comes
After the
out this
Bucks?
week.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Really?
Or last week, depending on when this episode is.
yes.
It comes out on the 24th of January, 2017.
Or came out.
Or came out. It's like 9 hours
Or
long.
her.
Or so. It's 9 hours long or something.
Oh,
And,
okay.
something that of that length that is made better by VR, and apparently the VR is great in it because it's all
Right.
first. So like
Yeah.
that's the first thing I've gone. Fuck.
Yeah.
Also, that's going to be like, things jumping out at you and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, which with a headset on, I don't know if I'm up to it.
Yeah, that could be too scary for
I
me.
want
I played
to
the-
shit my pants.
I played the demo. Did you guys play the demo?
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
yeah.
PS Store, or whatever. And it was more kind of ominous than jump scary. There's like 2 jump scares in it, maybe.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
maybe that'll be different for the.
I guess if they
whole
ease you
thing.
in, if it's one level of just creeping horror and one jump scare, then you don't vomit immediately.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
exactly.
then- and then-
it seems to be, yeah, you're right, going more for like a general like tone. Like
Yeah.
it's filthy.
It's real gross.
It's really disgusting to it's this house where have you guys seen much
Nah.
of it? It
No,
looks fucking awesome. I'm really stoked for
Our
it.
internet's been really bad, so I still haven't managed to download the demo yet.
Yeah, right.
It's been downloading for like 3 weeks at this point.
It's
Oh,
really
no.
good, and the demo is separate from the main game. It's like
Oh, is it?
an addendum.
Oh, that's cool.
thing to
Oh,
it.
That's
So,
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do hate that when you get a demo of something and you play through that, and then you go and get the game, and it's always kind of a bummer that you sort of have to
That is
do the same
irritating.
bit
Yeah.
again.
I think they're fixing that now. If you can buy a game as you're playing it, so you complete the demo,
Right.
download it, and then go on. But
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
right.
I think some games do that. Anyway, what were you
It
saying?
seems fucking awesome. Like it feels good, and it like they've nailed the horror element of it. I
Yeah,
think
cool.
of like having it. Yeah, no,
And this is back to like the original kind of thing of Resident Evil of like you're just walking around a creepy house.
yeah, sort of.
It's
but
like
then,
it's a smaller, it's like a cottage almost,
Yeah.
or a weatherboard house.
and then
Right.
in the
It's just filled with like maggots, and there's like a dead crow in the microwave. And
yeah,
Oh.
it's just
exactly.
weird shit.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then like there's all these weird sort of
Mannequins?
secrets and shit.
Oh, okay,
Oh.
right. Do you know the mannequins bit?
Oh, I thought you said maggots again. I thought you were just really focused on the maggots.
This guy's obsessed
I
with
got
maggots.
past it, all right?
Yeah, there are these mannequins and stuff, and like you can play through it multiple times. And weirdly, with the demo, they updated the demo 3 or 4
Yeah.
times.
Oh,
yeah, that's
really- that's
added
cool.
more shit to it, and like this creepy woman
You're
on
never
a phone.
going to download that. It's going to take
Yeah,
forever.
fuck.
It seems great. I'm gonna play it in a couple of weeks when I get back from Perth.
Nice.
Are you going to Perth, Adam? Yes, I am. Why, you could buy tickets to my comedy show if you wanted to. Really? What are the details? I'll let you know.
Is there a sixth person in here? Who was that?
I said I was going to start doing characters, but yeah, Resident Evil 7 looks really fucking good.
Oh, nice.
I generally don't get into that sort of first-person horror stuff,
No,
like
me neither.
Outlast or Amnesia or whatever,
Yeah.
that sort
Yeah.
of stuff.
I loved 4. That's the last one.
Four's
that I
like
enjoyed.
Yeah.
one of my favorite games of all time.
5 was, and I didn't play 6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had the exact. That's
Yeah.
my same exact Resident Evil history.
Well, James, let's go back a bit because we sort of jumped ahead here.
Sure.
What's your gaming history? Like, where did it start for you?
We had an IBM compatible in the late 80s, which was like way out of date for the time. And my first memory of it is my dad was putting it together, and he had the hard drive sitting there, and I went, "Hey, what's this?" And I dropped it. I broke it, and that was like $1,000 piece of tech, so I had to get a new one. But there was a whole lot of stuff. Do you ever play like Alley Cat and Digger?
Oh, yeah.
Fuck yes,
Yes.
Alley
Any of
Cat.
those ones?
That's
Yeah.
the first video game I ever played.
Did you know
Wow.
that game loops forever?
I guess. I don't know.
As a kid, I thought I was so close to beating it. And then
Oh,
only
man.
a couple years back, I looked into it, and it's like, oh no, this loops.
It just goes on forever.
I must have played
makes
that.
a lot of sense. Yeah, okay.
what does it refresh my memory? I'll just look it up.
You're a pervert alley cat,
Nice.
and you have to jump into windows, and each of them have like a different challenge where you got to catch fish in a fish tank.
There's like mice
yeah.
jumping out of a block of cheese.
Yeah, like a room-sized block of cheese.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And the goal is to basically get to fuck this other cat.
Yes, that is the goal.
So it's like a Pepe Le Pew kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
sort of, except
Yeah.
she's more into it. She
Yeah,
she
okay.
wants to get fucked.
Right.
She's a
Right.
dirty alley.
This looks intense. Like just the color scheme is like
Man, those
pink
old
and
like
light blue.
yeah, those bright colors where they're like, we get 4 colors, so we're gonna fucking blow them up in your face.
That's
Yeah.
exactly it.
IBM presents Alley Cat by Bill Williams. This motherfucker's got his name. He's
Right
gone
in there,
Sid
yeah.
Meier style.
Yeah.
That looks really cool. So the
nice.
game just goes on forever.
Yeah, no, you know, I had a lot of fun with it, but no, it is what it is. Everything from the past is crap.
Wow, huge. It looks like they've done a remake of it. There's like a updated.
Have they sexed up the cats?
They
For the
kinda
modern
have.
era? There's twerking.
Yeah. So from there, what about like?
then it was a 386.
Yep.
Which
wow.
you were talking. I heard you say this recently. Maybe it was an old show that I was listening to. Sam and Max Hit the Road.
Yes.
I bloody loved it. Mine
Love
didn't
that
have sound. which was-
Oh, really?
No, we didn't have a sound card, but that was great. I
You loved it
fucking
even though you didn't
it.
have the sound on?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Fuck, man.
Drop
Yeah.
the sound card as well.
That's it, exactly. And around then, it was also the Atari Lynx,
Yes.
which you had as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Ben.
yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Which I played to death, but nobody
Oh, the
else
hand.
had.
I was actually talking with a friend about this. The handheld.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy how Nintendo dominated the handheld market for so long? In
Yeah.
spite of I remember the Game Gear, the Lynx, and I think there was another one. There like a third handheld.
Yeah, like
that
a
was
Panasonic
color.
one or something.
Yeah.
There was a
Yeah.
Neo Geo Pocket.
Yeah,
Yep.
I
There was
remember
a-
they were all so
Yeah.
stoked on the fact that they were smashing Nintendo
Yeah.
by having a full color
Yeah.
display.
Technically, they all did, but it didn't have
Yeah.
the hardware, or
Yeah.
even the price point wasn't
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But even the
Yeah.
Game Boy Color was kind of a piece of shit. It had
Yeah, right.
4 colors on the screen. It took them
Yeah.
ages to get their shit together,
Yeah.
yet they still kind of outlasted all of them.
They just
Yeah.
they go cheap. That's how they
In-
do it. Make
Yeah.
their money. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Do you remember the with the Game Gear, how you could get the TV tuner?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
there being this rich prick at my school who had a Game Gear with the TV tuner in it, and you can just fucking watch TV
Yeah,
right
That blows
there.
my mind.
You bend the aerial
Oh
up,
my
you got
God.
Daryl
Gravity
Summers
is
right
out.
there on your Game Gear.
Yeah.
I remember there were always being rumors when I was at primary school / early high school of a watch that you could watch TV on.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
there was always someone who reckoned their dad had gone to China and bought them back a watch that had a remote control in it.
I had one of those.
Oh.
Did you?
You were that kid.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now,
wow.
did they exist?
Yeah, they existed.
Because there was always a kid at my school who was like, I'll bring it in tomorrow, and when we're watching fucking, To Kill a Mockingbird, I'm just going to turn the TV off. It's going to be sick. And you'd be like, hell yeah, man.
It was
And
one of
then-
those old TVs you got to click it, but I think it would work
and then he would
regardless.
come in and be like, oh, no, Dad wouldn't let me borrow the
Fuck
watch.
you.
So
Wow.
I never thought they really
Did it,
existed.
used it.
Fuck yeah.
That's right.
Wow.
You had to
Check out Dennis the Menace over
That's
here.
right. You had to program in the code for the brand of TV.
Oh,
So you had a
yeah.
little
So-
booklet, and it was like a 4-digit code for every TV. So you had to be like, okay, Panasonic, and it's this model. So you had to go up and look at the back of the TV,
Right. So
essentially.
for your prank to work, you've got to be like, Miss, can you just go get a look at the back of that unit and
Yeah.
read that 10-digit code out to
Yeah.
me?
You'd be better off just throwing your watch at the screen.
I would have just walked up and switched the TV off, and then
That's
just stared
true.
down the teacher and been like, "What
Yeah,
now?"
put a cigarette out on the teacher.
yeah,
I remember being like,
Flipping a coin the whole time.
I remember primary school just being like when we were growing up, because there wasn't the internet and stuff. A kid could just come to school and just make something up, and literally,
Yeah, right.
I remember there was always a thing where someone would go, "Oh, apparently in a month's time, there's a game coming out on the Super Nintendo, and it's Mario and Sonic in the same game," and you just
You
had
don't
to,
know.
you just had to believe it.
You can't prove
Does that
it.
still?
Yeah.
Do you think that still happens?
Nah.
Because kids have iPhones and they can just look it up
Yeah.
immediately.
I reckon people still lie. Yes, there was this kid at my school who, when Pokemon cards were big, I was at primary school. Someone had a Charizard. That was the big one.
Yep.
That was
It was like A4 size.
that was the remote control.
I
was
could
a
be a
remote
comedian,
control
don't you
watch
think?
of-
Sorry, go on.
Hey, no, it's really difficult, man. It sucks. Come to Perth, please. So this kid brought in his Charizard. And he's like, "Look at me, king of the school. I got a Charizard." Then it goes missing.
Oh,
The next day, another kid comes to school. He's like, "Guess what, guys? I've got a Charizard."
Wow.
And the other kid was like, "Fuck you, you stole it." And he was like, no, I didn't, because on my one, the borders are cut off and it's laminated. So how could it possibly be the same?
Very
card?
good.
Anyway, that kid literally got his leg broken over it. And then they got banned.
That's crazy. And yeah, like, that's funny to think like that kind of stuff happened at school, and all we had was cards and marbles and shit.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, now kids have iPhones and, like,
Oh, totally.
someone's going to get their skull caved in over a Nintendo Switch in the next
Yeah,
year.
definitely.
No doubt.
Well, we had Furbies were the other big thing at that school. And one kid really hated Furbies, so he got all of them out of people's like little lockers at lunchtime because he wasn't allowed to have them in the classroom, but people would still bring them to school for whatever reason. I think he had to look after them like Tamagotchis.
Yeah.
He gathered them all up, put them in a basket, and climbed to the top of a tree. And then he refused to come down, and they had to call the fire brigade.
I
Wow.
thought he was going to do something from the
Yeah.
top of the tree.
Well, I
Yeah.
think he maybe poured them out at some point. He didn't jump or anything.
That's great. Someone getting to the top of a tree with a bag full of Furbies and going, oh, well, fuck, this is where the plan kind of ran out.
This is my end game, yeah.
I reached the bottom of the bit of paper that I was writing this on, and I'm just freestyling from here.
absolutely.
I could chuck them, I guess, but then the people are just going to go and pick them up and get them back. So that seems
Was he going to
pointless.
live in the tree?
I think he started throwing them, or like, I feel like he
How
burned
old was
one.
he?
23? I don't know. Yeah, no, he was like 9.
I did love any new toy or like bit of technology or whatever that came in while you were at school, where like the policy makers at your school would be forced to kind of come in and,
Yeah, we've got to
mandate
have an
in some
angle
way.
on this.
Like all of a sudden you've got to stick signs up around the school saying, don't whip your Tamagotchis out in the middle of class. Like just the fact that teachers would have to get together and have a meeting
And be
it has
like,
to
what is this?
Yeah.
They have to figure out what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit like the Samsung Galaxies exploding on planes, and the airlines all of a sudden having to go, okay, guys, you can't bring these on the plane. Make sure you get rid of them. Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was also whenever any new piece of like a new toy, a new piece of technology was invented, there was like a golden period where the kids knew about it and the teachers
Yeah.
did it.
Yes. Right.
So like when Encarta was Encarta Encyclopedia was first introduced, like kids could just copy and paste directly from
right.
Encarta,
Yeah.
and the teachers wouldn't know for like a couple of months.
I was trying to figure out what rebellious act you were going to be
Yeah,
able to do.
right.
with
I thought it was going to
Encarta.
be like
Frisbees in class.
play the mind maze game at
Yeah,
lunchtime.
that's right.
Yeah.
Watch
They
that
don't
buddy.
even-
Watch that Weezer video.
I'm secretly learning while I'm in class. The teachers don't even know.
When I started year 7, we all had laptops at our school, and it was like great because all your teachers are so old, and so there was a glory period of like 6 months where I think the teachers literally didn't even know that you could have games on this machine.
Yeah.
So that was great, and then all of a sudden, they're like, because you're just sitting there with this thing in front of you, and the teacher can't see your screen, so you're just there playing. Like everyone had like a bootleg copy of Tony Hawk 2, so everyone, and then kids would get busted. But then the next thing was the teachers didn't know that Alt Tab existed.
Yeah, right.
So you could just have like a Word document open with like all this stuff on it. It was, and there's
Yeah.
no way that's
Kids are always one step ahead,
Oh,
man.
but
Oh,
there's
yeah.
no way that happens now. Like,
No.
No, it
It's like-
absolutely does.
It does?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
Really, like jailbroken iPads with
Yeah.
special. Yeah.
yeah, but just the glory years of just going like, man, they don't even know that we can do this on these things. This
Man.
is so good.
A friend of mine had. I went to high school in the era where everybody had the TI-82, like the graphic calculator.
Oh,
yeah,
and you
yeah.
could build it. You could write. There was all sorts of programs.
They
you could
still
make
use
them,
those.
Yeah, I know because
Yeah.
it's a bloody racket, mate.
Yeah.
But they had to like you could write all sorts of programs that would
Yeah.
solve everything instantly, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And our school had this policy where you had to delete everything, like all the programs off it, so you couldn't be cheating before your final exam.
Just walking into the exam room and the teacher's there holding a giant magnet.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. But a friend of mine wrote a program that was like a shell program over the top of that, where the teacher would go in and delete everything.
Oh,
But it was a
shit.
fake program over the top.
Whoa.
So it would appear that everything had been deleted, and then he would just shut down that program, and he had all his
Fucking
yeah,
Julian
right?
Assange
Yeah, I know,
over
right?
there.
It was Julian Assange.
Did Texas Instruments make anything apart from calculators?
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
know.
the
yeah,
only
they
thing
make
they made?
saxophones.
Yeah, trumpets and...
What?
Really?
Texas Instruments.
Like electric.
Nice.
Oh,
I just got
man.
it. I just got it.
Yeah.
I'm a kid. I'm
dad-
one step ahead of you guys.
My dad just came back from China and he reckons they make these watches where you can watch TV on them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Did you ever play if you weren't, because some classes at school they go no computers in here because we know what you're doing, and then I remember someone found out
Wanking.
about the game calculator cricket.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I can't remember how you
yeah.
played it, but it was like
Throw a calculator at someone with a bat.
There was just a random number button, I think.
there was a
on-
random random number button, and it was like a
and it would
certain...
come up as as a decimal.
Yeah.
And you added up all the points you got until you got a 1, and at which point you're out. That
Yeah.
was calculator cricket.
I just love the most...
Compelling, right?
The desperate bootleg game
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
like,
right.
we can't have the laptops out,
We had
we've
a-
got to think of something.
We had a drug lord one. Where
Oh,
like,
yes!
Do you remember that one?
On the calculator?
Yeah, on the calculator.
Yes.
And it was all math. But
Yeah.
You're like, I'm selling drugs. But no, you're just doing
You're
math.
learning.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
You're
before we were
learning about
outsmarting the
selling
teachers,
drugs.
I reckon a teacher just came up with it.
Yeah.
Probably it.
Ours
yeah.
was like Newgrounds and stuff. That's,
Yeah, yeah.
that's
Right,
where
yeah.
we would go and play games and
When a
There's
shit,
no record of it on your computer.
Exactly, yeah, you
a
could just
shit
do it.
flash video would take like fucking 20 minutes to load.
totally with the like 55 or whatever, and
Yeah.
then that got like people didn't do that anymore when we found out how to do this command prompt thing where you could send a message that would appear on someone's screen.
Oh yeah, we did that as well.
Yeah. And so
I
like
love
you'd
that.
wait until the teacher was about to be looking at their screen and you type in "fuck you."
Because all the computer room computers were like on a network
all
or
linked,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they
So-
didn't know that you knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to send error messages to people just as they go to click something. Fuck! Like,
James, you
friend-
got...
sorry.
I was going to say, James, you got big into chat roulette.
I did,
This
yeah.
This is way after high school. But James brought me over to his house one time, and he's like, "I've done this thing. It's hilarious, right? And it's because you could plug in
this
any.
is before I obviously did podcasting
Yeah,
when I had
you
a lot
could-
of free time.
You can plug in. You
point
can
that
basically
out.
plug in any video source to the video you were showing to people that appeared randomly.
Right.
And so James is like, "I've done this hilarious thing. It's just like a cute girl, and she's like typing and chatting or whatever. She's just like a cute girl or whatever. And then it cuts to like monkeys having sex or something like that. It's so funny. I've wrecked so many people with this. This is great. Check this out." And he goes and he puts it up and he hits chat roulette. Like the random person comes up and it's this cute, the cute girl, and she's tapping away, and we get the first chat roulette guy, and it's just some dude. And then he immediately just stands up and takes his pants off and just starts jacking
Yeah.
off, like straight
To
away.
the video of monkeys having sex.
No,
No,
just
the
this
girl.
girl just
Oh,
sitting there
right.
typing, just straight
It
away.
was just like
Fuck.
jackpot.
Those
Yeah.
chat roulette, those pranks of like, hey, and it's secretly me. I'm not Spider-Man or whatever they do. Like,
Yeah.
the prank is that you're being forced to watch 3 hours worth of just dudes fucking
It's
smacking
all
their
dudes.
dicks around. Yeah,
All dudes. And guys try to trick dudes.
yeah.
My friend had a great prank that he'd play on other people on their computers at school where he would go, "Oh, can I just check something quickly?" And he would go like,
He'd slam their dick in
select
it.
all, select all, enter, and just do that heaps of times. Hit those commands heaps of times. So it's like opening every folder. And then it's opening every
right.
folder in that and every program, and it would just fuck your computer because like everything's opening at once.
Oh.
Real good stuff.
Prick.
Really good stuff. So you IBM.
Yeah, so then I won a Nintendo 64 from Triple
Hell
M.
yeah.
Fuck
I told
yeah.
you this
Triple M.
story. Yeah, of Triple M. I rang up in year, when was I? I was about 14, 15. It was the year that Star Wars was coming out, The Phantom Menace, and they go ring up and do your
Great
best.
film.
Great film, one of the best. Do your best C-3PO impersonation. And so it was me against this other guy.
Yeah.
And mine was terrible, but his was worse.
Yeah,
Is
Anthony
this,
Daniels.
is this just an excuse for the grill team to make fun of you for sounding a little camp and gay?
It was the Crud show.
Oh, Crud, yeah.
It was Tony Moclair,
Tony Moclair and
Jill
Julian
Schiller,
Schiller.
yeah.
which and Guido Hatzis,
Guido
which
Hatzis,
we've talked
yeah.
Oh,
about
man.
before.
Guido Hatz is giving out a Nintendo 64 is fucking great.
But the twist was that I had to come in and then record a skit as C-3PO to get my prize. So they were doing one every night, and then they were going to do a Phantom Menace Star Wars skit. And I was shitting myself that I'd had to go in and do this. So when my dad drove me into Richmond or whatever, and we picked it up and we just fucking legged it. So we're
So
like,
you didn't have to do the sketch.
Didn't have to do it. They never called. I don't know if they ever planned on doing it, but I was like, thank fucking Christ.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's bad business. Like giving you the 64 before they've gotten you to do the work.
I think they thought it through and they went, oh no, because then we have to get regular people in and do a radio play.
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to be funny or good.
When I was a kid, I just always thought like those radio contests and stuff. I just always thought they were like a bit. Like I was just like, why would this can't be real? Why would a radio station just give away a holiday?
Uh-huh.
Like I thought it was just like to inspire you to like feel like, hey, anything could, I could just to give a bit of hope to
I can
people's
escape
lives.
my humdrum life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the people who won were just like people who worked at the station just pretending.
I think there must be laws and regulations, right? There'd have to be where that was. you can't do
Tommy,
that,
as a
right?
child,
Is
you
that
lived in some sort of 1984 dystopia. Where propaganda's all like, you could go away to
Horsham.
paradise.
Yeah.
Nothing is real.
We've always been at war with this C-3PO impression.
We've always been at war with Joe and Limo.
I won a
for the
Sega
drive
Saturn
time.
once as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How'd you win that?
I didn't have to do jack shit.
Oh, well, that sounds great.
I rented some videos and then pulled a card out of a box, and they were like, "Yeah, see you later, buddy."
Do you reckon they were just like, you're a kid, you'll enjoy
Yeah,
this?
kind of.
Yeah.
It said 0000001.
Right.
And I knew that in binary.
It meant you've won.
I know, wait, just take it. It's fine.
Yeah. That was cool, but yeah, winning a fucking video game console makes you feel like a goddamn kid.
Oh man,
Absolutely. it
Yeah.
does,
Especially
yeah.
at that age where it's like $400, or whatever it costs in the
Yeah.
stores. It may as well be all the money in the world.
I couldn't have bought it. My
Yeah.
parents wouldn't have bought it for
Yeah.
me. I would
Yep.
never have had one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did they give you games with it as well?
I got the Phantom Menace pod racing game.
Oh,
which
so that was
Yeah.
really
It's
fun.
okay. It's not
Yeah.
a bad game. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It's fine.
Better
yeah.
than the film, I reckon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely. it
that
is.
was like the one really good bit of that film. I remember it.
It's
You
kind
like
of
the
The one
boring
bit that
bit.
people liked.
We went back to it recently to do a commentary. It goes for like 15 minutes. It's like 8 laps. Like,
Yeah. It's in real time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is in real time.
Yeah.
He breaks down like 4 times. It's real bad. Yeah.
But is it? But it's kind of exciting.
Oh, it's
at least,
technically
right?
amazing, but it should be 2 laps. It
Yeah.
should be like 5-6 minutes.
Yeah.
I just remember people being very wowed by that when it came out.
Yeah.
Because it was like you go in and this franchise is kind of like back after all these years,
Mm.
and it's very exciting and very like technology of the day to like
Yeah,
make
absolutely,
it look really
yeah.
good, and then
And it still looks good.
I loved
Yeah.
the look of those pods. I really liked like that they were all very, very different.
Yeah.
As though like there wasn't just one really good way to make a pod racer and everyone's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like a
Like,
Formula One car.
exactly. It'd be like a Daytona thing where
Yeah.
all the cars would be different, but they're all like, nah, make the engines too big. Have
Yeah.
12 of them, nothing will go wrong.
I do find that funny in the rules of a science fiction world or whatever, where it's like, yeah, there'll be one thing, but all of them look completely different. It's like, yeah, cars just all kind of look like cars. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the gap between the two cars that look least similar is not that big. But then there's ones in this world where it's like, yeah, super tiny, and then the other ones are like,
Just everyone's kind of guessing
Yeah.
at how
Yeah.
to do it. Everyone's
And
starting
they're all
from-
like grabbing junk from different junk shops,
Yeah.
presumably, and whatever.
They're not
Probably
Trading
Pombo
generators for
yeah,
coins.
they're going down to
whatever that-
Pombo Mart.
So yeah, 64. What were your favorite games on the 64?
Bond. It's obviously everyone loved that. I want to go
didn't
back
love it.
to it, but I want it. There's a controller you can get, which it reconfigures the 64, so you can play it like a proper video. It's not that weird, terrible.
Oh,
end
not
shaped-
the okay.
Yeah, you can
Not-
get one that's like, but they're like $150.
Right.
But I was looking into this recently. There's a thing called they're called Raspberry Pis or something. I
Yes.
can't remember. Yeah,
I have one of them.
Oh, you got one?
Yeah, yeah.
I got to get one. And
They
just,
are-
every ROM forever.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
fucking amazing. And I have only downloaded ROMs of games that I legally own.
Of course.
Very good.
Then why
Let
do
me
you have
just-
it? It's not important. No time.
It's no, it's fucking. They're fantastic. You can get one for like $80.
Yeah. Did you build it yourself?
No,
What-
some guy in Perth
give some
did.
context. What are they?
So it's a little computer. It basically, it's a little tiny computer. It's got a Raspberry Pi.
They were
Pi
designed
like the
for
number.
poor communities overseas, kind of thing. It's like a cheap.
Were they really?
Yeah.
And
Oh
we've
well, I
just
feel bad
hijacked
from taking that from someone's not mouth. They're not feeding anybody, but you know what I mean. You attach it to your wrist, and then you can point it at a TV. But yeah, you can just
You can watch
put.
Burke's Backyard.
That's great. An app for like the Game Gear that lets you watch TV, but only Burke's Backyard.
You can basically emulate everything up to an N64.
Yeah.
And
Pretty
it's like it's a
much.
little handheld.
No,
you put it in
it's
your TV
HDMI thing.
Oh, cool.
And you can get
Um,
like proper controllers with it because there's ones you can build. They're like, here are all the parts you can build it. I'm like, no, fuck off.
Yeah.
I'm not soldering anything. Just give me
Yeah.
one that works.
You can get them pre-made and sent to you, which is great. They work really well for that stuff. Like people have built this proper like interface where it feels like a little every game that's ever been made box.
And when Nintendo aren't releasing their games, you know what I mean? They're retro games. They're drip feeding one a month or whatever
Yeah,
is on
yeah,
the
yeah.
Switch, and then taking it away.
Yeah.
Why the
Yeah.
fuck wouldn't anybody get this?
Yeah.
Everybody should get this.
I
Yeah.
think it's crazy that the NES Classic didn't have like some sort of cartridge swapping option.
I know.
Like release another 30 games in 6 months and charge $100 for it, and people would slot
I
that
think
in.
they just
Yeah.
wanted to keep it just very simple. They clearly were going for a non kind of like hardcore market.
Yeah, uh-huh.
They-
Yeah.
It clearly was just designed to be as simple as so a bit that you take out and replace. Like I think they felt like maybe that's just complicating things.
Yeah.
A bit. And right, it is crazy. It's also crazy that they haven't made 4 times the amount of them that they have.
Yeah, right,
It's
exactly.
literally a license to print money,
Classic
and they've gone,
Nintendo.
nah, we've
Yeah.
sold all 20. Oh, well,
yeah.
it's kind of out of our hands now.
But I think people have hacked, like Raspberry Pi style, I think people have just hacked it already.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can
Oh,
just
right.
put
We
on...
do that when we do
Yeah.
video game stuff occasionally. I just get a ROM.
Right,
And we just
exactly,
do it
yeah.
like that.
Well,
yeah.
you can just Google the name of a game and be playing it in your browser in
Yeah.
10 seconds
Yeah.
Yeah.
these
That's right.
days.
Did you play any of the video games last night at the Bucks we were at?
No, that's what that would have been.
Is that what that is?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
that would have been a Raspberry Pi.
I was playing Mario Kart 64 and playing the Toad's Turnpike level, and I hated it. I forgot how brutal that
I thought you were
track
going to be
is.
like, and still great.
Man, I got smacked. You know, it's the one where you're like on a road and there's all these other cars coming.
Oh, yeah.
It's got
that's
run over
right.
constantly.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
They're going the other way. Oh, no. Are they going the
no,
other
when
way?
you,
can
when you do
reverse
mirror
it,
mode,
can't
they're
you?
going the other way.
Yeah.
That's
But
right.
man, it is fucked.
Yeah.
That game's actually really hard.
Man, driving's dangerous. You got to be careful.
That's a lesson, isn't it?
Very true.
Huge. What about we were talking about maybe trying to talk about like comic book video games.
Sure.
With
Yeah.
these guys.
Yeah, we can do that.
I remember.
Yeah, we can-
Remember, like in the SNES era, there were a lot of like the kind of the beat 'em up sort of style games
So
where it was
many.
like they had
Yeah.
like
That
a
was your-
Spider-Man and Venom one. I remember.
Oh, and the Sega.
I think it
Mega
would have come.
Drive
Yeah, it
maybe,
would
or
have come out on
whatever.
Sega and SNES
Yeah.
and everything. And
I remember. Yeah, there was, and they're all basically the same.
yeah, and
You
the
pick-
X-Men ones as well. But it was
Yeah.
kind of the. I mean, well, yeah, pretty simple. Nothing like. Yeah,
Maximum
pretty much.
Carnage.
Yes.
Remember that
Yes.
one? Yeah.
Yeah.
That shit got weird sometimes, though. There's like 3 or 4 different versions of Batman Returns.
Yes.
Yes.
On the Atari Lynx.
And they're
Yeah,
all
yeah.
completely
Yeah,
different
right,
from
guys.
each other. It's straight like, what a weird thing for like...
It would never happen now.
Yeah, exactly. Developing like 5 different games for the same movie.
You know, yeah, Disney movies, when they had games on the Super Nintendo and Mega Drive, they were
Yeah.
different.
Yes.
They were like similar-ish, but actually completely different games. Really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
I guess, I mean, like... Maybe they just didn't tell each other that they were both working on it. Like all these different people. You've done a fucking Batman Forever game as well? I've been doing it for 3 years. Oh, you son of a...
But the movie studio or DC is just like, we're just selling all these licenses,
Yeah, they
we're
don't
making
care,
some
yeah.
money.
Yeah.
I guess maybe it was just hard to port, like to be developing for both those pieces of hardware at the same
it must
time,
be.
maybe?
Yeah.
There was
'Cause they
a
were
big
pretty
disparity though, like between the consoles.
Yeah.
Like now everything comes out on everything pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
There's a few exclusive, but then it was like no Sega, Nintendo's Nintendo.
Maybe it was
the
even-
3DO is whatever that's doing.
Yeah. He's
The
off in the
Neo
corner
Geo.
eating chalk. There was like a weird... It could be like a contractual thing because I feel like people were even more competitive back then. Like Sega and Nintendo
Yeah.
hated each other
Yes.
even more than people
Well,
do
their
now.
ads would be like...
Fuck Sega!
Yeah. What was the Mega... The Genesis-
Sega does
Sega
what Nintendo don't.
Nintendo don't.
Yeah.
You'd never see. There's kind of a bit of a gentlemanly agreement.
Yeah.
Like, there's
Yeah.
not like Sony getting up there and going, "Fuck you, Xbox."
There's the
Yeah.
occasional dig. Do you remember when Xbox said you can't borrow games from each other?
That's right.
And
Oh, yeah.
Sony were
Yeah.
like, "This is how you borrow games with Sony," and it's just a guy handing a game to
Yeah,
another.
they
guy.
just
Yeah.
set themselves right up for that.
What are they
That was
thinking?
that was the worst decision, and it just made it so. All Sony had to do the next day was just not announce something shit that people are going to hate, and they Bradbury'd their way into winning E3 that year. Yeah, like, so do you guys have you played the Batman, like the recent spate of like the Batman?
Oh, the Arkham
Rockstar
ones.
games?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I haven't played the VR one. Has anyone
Yeah.
here tried that at all?
No, I've never even tried VR. I'm all smoke and mirrors. I'm all bluster.
Too much of a fan of the real world, mate.
Yeah, man, why don't you take the VR headset off and go and look at the real world? Maybe then we'd be able to be a little bit more closer together in the times that we live in. Just stop me or I'm going to keep going.
You know what would be genuinely cool? A VR experience of an episode of Black Mirror.
Oh, yes.
So you're in it and you're in Black Mirror, but then anyone watching you play it can just be like, "What is this, Black Mirror?" That's amazing.
Just a VR thing of like looking at the rider and he looks smug.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
get it?
The VR
Twitter.
Black Mirror experience is
It's
you
like
just,
now.
Yeah. It's just you walking around and it's just people looking at their phones.
Yeah.
And you're constantly...
And there's just a mountain behind.
Yeah,
it or
there's like
Yeah.
a sunset
Yeah.
or a waterfall or whatever.
And you constantly can just hear in the speakers that are around your head as if it's coming out of
Yeah.
your mouth. You just hear yourself constantly saying, "What is this, an episode of Black Mirror?"
And then you navigate through the city and you get to the end and there's just a wheel, you spin it, and at the end it's like, "Oh, I'm a pedophile. Then I was a pedophile." "Oh, Oh, turn on! I have to have sex with a pig. Oh,
Yeah, you walk in front of a mirror and it's Hitler.
yeah.
You know what I think would be cool to see them do with another series of Black Mirror? Like go back into some of the worlds, like some of the stories that they've done. So go back into
Yeah.
that scenario,
Back Mirror.
We've talked
but just
about
show
that,
it
yeah.
from a different perspective. Like I rewatched the one the other day where you can replay your memories on
yeah.
the TV, and that guy's like obsessed with his wife having fucked that guy that she
Yep.
knows.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's a cool concept. Like just tell a different story.
You
with
had a
that
great
technology.
idea. You had a great idea for the one where you got the afterlife one.
Oh, there's one that I did not particularly care for. It's in the most recent season where it's a couple and they live in a virtual environment in the 80s.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just it's there's no existential horror to it.
Yeah.
Like it's just fine. But
People love that one. Though.
I loved it.
I think
I
'cause
didn't care
it's
for
me.
it. Like I think it was nice, and I think it was a mechanism for people to not kill themselves midway through the season.
That's Australia's Tom Ballard.
Hi, Tom.
There was no reason for that to happen.
No. But that for me, I'm like, well, that's not. It didn't teach me any valuable lessons about my
what happened?
humanity.
I haven't seen this
Oh,
episode.
so there's an episode where this kind of shy, very introverted woman
Okay.
in the 80s goes to a nightclub and she meets a beautiful woman and they fall in love to some degree, and then she can't find her. Like she does, this beautiful woman she meets doesn't.
It's also, it
return.
starts off, it's in the 80s, and it's all very vaguely kind of like, oh, I'll see you here like next week.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, what is this thing where they only allowed to go to this city once a week, or and you
Yeah.
kind of don't quite know what it's
And then
about.
Who's a pedophile or whatever.
Exactly. And then she can't find this woman, and she asks around, and somebody says, "Oh, maybe you'll find her in the 90s or in 2003." And so basically, she can go into these virtual worlds that are all basically the same, except they're in different eras.
Except Good
Okay.
Charlotte's
And
in
it turns out it's
2000.
those people who have died, but they've uploaded their consciousness to a computer system.
But you can try it out before you die once a week.
Yeah.
I would have turned this off with my watch if I was
Yeah.
watching.
But the idea you had
But
was...
I feel it would have been better if we go back to that in like 100 years or 1,000 years.
Or
Where, like-
100,000
Or 100,000
whatever, yeah.
years where humanity outside of
200,000
Yeah, maybe. There's no limit to where this could go. But like to where
20
humanity...
years.
Steady on, mate. But like a future where humanity outside of this system everyone's died and there's no one there to maintain it anymore.
Ah, okay.
And it's like, what happens to the people inside? Do you get sick of living in the 80s for 200,000 years? Or
You
like,
can't get out. You can't
get out?
reboot anything.
The system is
Fucking
collapsing.
sick of the Smiths.
Like nothing matters. You can't die. You know, you can't
Yeah.
hurt yourself or anybody else.
Yeah.
But but you're trapped forever.
Yeah.
That's Groundhog Day.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a little Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every movie's Groundhog Day to me because I just rewatch them again.
Once every day.
What else? So video game, comic book video games.
Oh yeah, we almost started talking
We
about the
almost had a
Arkham
topic,
series.
right?
Yeah.
I remember
Comic
that.
book. What do you reckon of the quality of comic book video games
In
roughly
general, yeah.
at the
The
moment?
The problem was Sega got a hold of all the Marvel games for the last like
Right.
10 years, and they just fucked them all up. Except for Captain America, which is pretty good because it's got the Batman combat.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
right.
They tried to do like Thor and Iron
Yeah.
Man and all of them
Yeah.
right as the sort of Marvel
and
stuff
they're
started.
all terrible.
Right, I've forgotten that they even existed.
Yeah. And then they just all went to mobile because they're like, people aren't buying these and they suck.
Yeah.
But now Marvel's licensed them out properly. So
Right.
we're getting a real Spider-Man game coming up.
Yeah, that looks
Oh yeah, that
great.
looks cool.
That's
yeah.
Insomniac doing that,
Yes,
right?
who
yeah.
did-
Ratchet and
Yeah,
Clank?
I think
Yeah,
so.
something
Yeah.
like
Are they them?
I think that's them.
Where am I?
Did they do the guy who shot lightning out of his hands and you climb
Infamous.
it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're not Ratchet and Clank. Are they Ratchet and Clank?
They might be.
Who the
But there's
fuck
also-
made Ratchet and Clank?
Mason, who made Ratchet and Clank?
Who are these Ratchet Clank fellows? I don't understand.
There was I've never played it, but there was a Spider-Man game on PS2 that a
Yeah.
lot of people remember really
Spider-Man
fondly.
2. It's amazing.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
The web swing is amazing.
Kind of open
Yeah.
worldy.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. I think that totally lends itself to.
It was like
a
the way.
fun-
It was, sorry, go on.
No,
We're
that's
not
all-
stepping
that's all.
over each other. Remember, we decided.
Yeah.
It had kind of like in the same way the Tony Hawk mechanics. It's fun to kind of just get about. It was like
Right.
that with web swinging.
Yeah.
Whatever. It was super cool.
Well,
yeah.
if this new one is made by the people who made Infamous, that's perfect because
I'll look
Infamous
that
would have been better if it was a Spider-Man
Yeah,
game.
Yeah.
totally. And like if they make, it's crazy how shit Marvel stuff is outside of their films.
Yeah.
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 And
Yeah.
like if they
And
could,
comics.
There's some good T-shirts as well.
That's true.
I don't really like comics. But
I like
yeah.
cool things like smoking.
Yeah. I like flipping coins and turning off TVs.
Yeah.
That's what I'm about.
I have a magic set. Let's do an episode of this
They
show where we
did
just talk about magic for an hour.
I did get a magic set for
Did you
for
really?
Christmas.
Hell yeah. This Christmas?
Yeah.
Really?
Because my mum just doesn't know me, I guess.
This Christmas
Yes,
you got a magic
this
set.
Christmas, and it was like here's a pack of cards and a dumb ball.
Oh,
Oh,
you've
that's
got to get up at our
great.
live show and do some
Yeah,
magic
it's
tricks. You've got to.
But I don't want to learn them. There's like a DVD where some poor fucking guy has to explain to you.
Learn them.
You just want to know them.
Just
You just want to be good at
Just
them.
bloody subvert the genre, which you bloody do all the time, mate.
Yeah, I'll
Oh,
just
yeah.
get up there and go, hey, the real magic was looking up from our phones, you bitches.
And then you pelt it with the cards and the balls.
What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, if they could make a consistently good set of the... Like, if all those Marvel things had good games to them as well,
Yeah.
that would be a
Oh.
fucking nut job.
It would be the movie
Yeah,
The
it
Nut
would.
Job, correct?
Nah.
There's just no reason, because surely every developer would want to get their hands on
Yeah.
something that hot.
Well,
Yeah.
Marvel were giving their properties to anybody at one point.
Yeah.
That's why
Right.
they're all the characters are everywhere. So
Right.
that's probably what.
Yeah, they
probably
were.
what
The
happened.
Marvel were on the verge of bankruptcy in sort of the 90s. Like they were.
Yeah, right.
So like literally selling their like office fixtures and their filing cabinets
bodies.
for money.
Wow.
Like, if you remember that, if you remember that, if you remember that film,
Chuck that
you
in.
remember Blade with Wesley Snipes? Like that was a massive
Yes.
hit. That made like hundreds of millions of dollars, and Marvel made like $35,000 for the
Oh,
license.
wow.
They would just
Wow.
like take whatever we have.
fuck.
Kind of thing.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so they even so, especially video games wise, they're just like take anything you want, do anything you want.
I
with
didn't
it.
realize
And now they've
that.
got to sort of slowly try and get it all back and
Yeah, yeah.
exercise some kind of quality
and because
control again.
Disney have it. And even though
Right.
people are like, fuck Disney, they're terrible, they're actually kind of setting things straight. In a
Right.
Well,
Well,
not that I ever
Yeah.
played it, but people seem to like. There's certain audience seem to like it. The Disney Infinity stuff, where they
Yeah,
were
I
putting
think
the
that- yeah.
But
Marvel characters
they
in it.
shut that down. Like, I don't think that did very
they
well.
shut down the whole studio.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So,
yeah.
but maybe that's them going, we'll sell our licenses to actual video game studios.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which
It's
is what
pretty
they're
weird
doing.
that whole
Yeah.
thing, but that whole Disney Infinity thing is done,
Yeah.
which seemed like it was really being established as like, hey, this is like a long term thing.
I think those outside of Amiibos, those like toys to life is what
Yeah.
they call them. I think those things are done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but theirs was kind of a cool one. Like I find it weird that with Skylanders, that's a big toys to life thing.
Yeah.
and they sort of expect you to give a shit about having a figurine of this character that you've never seen before outside of the game. It's like, hey, we just invented this thing 5 minutes ago, and
Yeah.
now you have to give a shit about it. Whereas at least with Amiibo, it's like, even if you don't have a Wii U, it's like, oh, cool, a little Mario figurine.
Yeah.
This looks cool on my
Absolutely, yeah.
desk.
But at
it's only
some point,
15
every
bucks.
character was invented for the first time, and so I like Street Sharks. I've never seen a Street Shark before.
I love Street Sharks.
Yeah, me
Street
too.
Sharks was fucking sick, and you
Yeah.
didn't go like, "What is a street shark?"
Well, you did it first.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I liked it because I liked
yeah.
the toy because I'd seen the cartoon as well.
And
Like-
also, a street shark is way cooler than little fucking "I'm a little woodman" or whatever the Skylanders are.
Jimmy the doorbell.
Yeah,
Insomniac did Resistance, Ratchet and Clank, and Spyro.
okay.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so there's some good games in there,
Ratchet and
man.
Clank was one of my favorite games last year. That Spider-Man game's gonna
Right,
be cool.
yeah, you
Yeah.
loved it,
That's gonna be really cool.
Sweet.
So who's doing Spider-Man?
Them.
Them.
Them. So who did Infamous?
Some other people.
Yeah, someone else, I think.
Yeah, different developer.
All right.
This is modern day Who's on First. I reckon we should wrap that up. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
We really talked about some video games.
Boy,
here today,
did we
guys.
ever.
We
Oh,
got
yeah.
deep.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks so much for joining us.
Absolutely,
yes.
pleasure. Oh, I remember something. Hang on. Because you guys, we're all working together on like a little something called Planet Broadcast, and we're all teaming up.
Yes.
And I thought last time I brought you gifts. I don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
if you remember. I brought you
you
some.
Now I look like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
All part of the plan. But I figured just to welcome you to the team, I'd give each of you a little something to remember
nice.
to work. And
That's a
We didn't
now-
even get into this
gesture.
yet because so you guys, you're technically our bosses at this point.
Yes.
That's correct.
Well, technically, James's partner is all our bosses.
yeah.
Okay, right.
I would say we're loosely connected. That was
Yeah.
probably
Yeah, well,
the extent of
You and your partner.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very tenuous.
Well, one thing is for certain: the three of us are definitely on the very bottom rung of this ladder.
Yeah.
But the idea is that, we do reasonably well, and we want other people to do, reasonably
So
well.
we're getting some people who we really enjoy listening to the podcast
Yeah.
and being on the podcast. Just getting everybody together and getting everybody some more listeners and getting paid and
Yeah, exactly.
because everybody in Australia is producing some great content and we don't do it for free.
Generally not.
You know what I
but,
mean?
Yeah.
some
Yeah,
of it's
so I
good.
brought you a little welcoming gifts. Now, the cynical among you might suggest that I'm moving house and I'm just clearing out some garbage that I've received for free, and they might be right, and yet it's a gift, so you have to take them all. So, let's
Is this
see.
a new segment? What if Loot Crate was shit?
So, Benjamin, I know you inexplicably like the film Batman v Superman. So I've got you can have my DC superheroes Clash of the
thank
Heroes
you.
set. That's a bit of Lego.
Awesome.
That's you can see it's an incredibly enraged Superman fighting an incredibly enraged Batman.
Yeah.
That's my gift to you.
Do they
Thank
actually
you,
look
Meso.
enraged, or are they smiling like Legos?
No.
What do they do? Oh, they're actually angry Legos.
Yeah, they're angry Legos.
Huh.
Yeah, you
Perfect for me.
keep that.
Yeah.
My gift isn't you having pre-ordered me a Nintendo Switch. I'm going to be very
Well, look, I
disappointed.
know you're the biggest Mario guy, so
yes.
I've got your little Super Mario.
Nice. It's a little
Hot
Mario
Wheels.
Hot Wheels car.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Hell
The fact
yeah.
that you're giving me mine third means it's the joke one.
No.
Oh, Meso, can I just tell you quickly? This is the third one of these I've received.
Oh, great.
I don't
Okay.
even, but I don't have this
don't
exact
have
one.
Mario, okay,
There's like a
good.
series of them, and they're little Hot Wheels cars themed like Mario
Yep.
characters. I've been given 2 other ones independently,
Oh.
which is
There you go, you're
slowly
building the
collecting a
set, exactly.
Not even having to buy
Yeah.
them myself.
Get my magic kit out of there and let's.
This is for you. This is a watermelon bath mat to go with your watermelon bed sheets.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Is that
All
a
right.
welcome mat?
Huh?
So it's a bath mat.
It's
Oh,
a
it's a
bath
bath
mat.
mat.
Brilliant.
That's cool.
There
Yeah.
you go. Now I just need a bath. Or a shower.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'll hold it up in front of my face.
We can do this after.
Yeah.
We'll put
I don't think
photos
so.
of all
It's
these
perfect.
up on the socials.
Anyway, welcome to the team, everyone.
Thank you. I'll think of you every time I'm naked and wet.
If people haven't listened to your guys' show before, where can they find The Weekly Planet?
Oh, just look up the Weekly Planet on iTunes.
Great.
That's
Yeah.
right. There's not 5 other podcasts called The Weekly Planet. Like you guys. No, you're the last one, aren't you? There's no more filthy casuals.
No,
You
we've
kind of-
established
you're
that
out
I
dominance.
Googled us the other day, and we do come up pretty early. I think we come up
I think
we've climbed our
first.
way
I
up the
think
top.
we're like
yeah.
the whole
You
first
have to
page
be.
now
Yeah.
nowadays. Yeah.
We've got our live show on sale Saturday, April the 22nd at the European Beer Cafe at
Awesome.
4 p.m.
Good venue.
Yeah,
It's a
tickets
great
on
place,
sale
yeah.
at tinyurl.com/filthycasualslive.
Yeah.
Ben, do you want to give out all the socials?
On Twitter, we're at FilthyCastPod. On Facebook, we're Filthy Casuals. Our email is filthycasuals.pod@gmail if you want to send in a big, long question. Otherwise, just tweet at us. If you want to donate to the show, paypal.me/filthypod.
Cool. And just very quickly, I have to ask you guys this new question that I've decided we ask all guests before we finish the show.
Oh, here we go.
What if Mario real life?
Oh, throw hat. Throw hat.
That was me. I said that.
No, throw hat. What? You throw hat. You throw hat.
Not throw
Yeah.
hat. That's what I'm going to
Oh,
say.
wow. That's
Yeah.
why you guys are so good together.
That's right. Yeah.
Guys, thanks so much for listening. And as we say here at the end of every episode of Filthy Casuals,
Meso left the price tag on my gift.